Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure to be here and making you aware of what we call the full story of climate change. And to start, I would like to make you aware that we recently sent a letter to the Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres. And we sent a letter to the President of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen. And we sent a letter to the President of the ECB, Christine Lagarde. And those letters had only one principal message. And that message was there is no climate emergency, no panic, no planet meltdown. That is actually our story. And we spread that story to all over the world in the different languages, which you now see if you look at the literature coming up in a lot of the blogs. Now, we had another point in the letters. We asked the question, why spending trillions of dollars on an emergency that doesn't exist? And that is what we would like to emphasize this afternoon. Now, with the letter, we included the World Climate Declaration. And the World Climate Declaration is a declaration consisting of 6 statements, and these 6 statements really included the whole climate story. And we were very pleased that we could do that together. And what do I mean with together? Well, we were surprised that many scientists and professionals would like to sign the declaration. So we started with 100, 200, and 2 weeks ago it was 700, and now we are already passing 800 signatures. And some of them we are very proud of. Some of them are really excellent. I just picked out 6, but keep in mind, there are very many excellent ones. So of course, we are proud that Nobel Prize winner Professor Ivar Gever is on our list. Of course, the famous atmospheric scientist Richard Lindzen. We have Freeman Dyson, the father of plate tectonics, Professor Dewey. We have the reef specialist Peter Ritt. We have leisure expert Professor William van Wijngaarden, and so I continue. And they all, that was the nice thing about it, all these more than 800 experts agreed with these 6 statements. Now you would say, okay, these 6 statements, what are these 6 statements? Well, let's quickly go through it step by step. The first one is, well, you see, there is natural as well as anthropogenic factors in the global warming. So actually, it says we agree on that. And it is very irritating sometimes that each time we hear that CLIMATEL does not agree with the global warming. And you see the first statement is, yes, of course there is global warming. But the most important issue is, of course, how much is natural and how much is anthropogenic. And that is, of course, the real key question. on it. I come back to that. So no disagreement here. Now the second point is actually warming is far slower than predicted. And that is not an argument, that's a fact. Yeah? If we look at the measurements and we look at the predictions, then we will see that the predictions systematically are warmer than what the measurements indicate. And number 3 statement of the declaration is climate policy relies on inadequate models. And why do we say that so very clearly? Well, because we say the gap between simulations and measurements are so big that every serious scientist say, well, this particular theory does not yet being reliable. And we know, of course, a wrong model, a wrong policy. So let's go to statement number 4. And statement number 4 says, well, look, CO2 is plant food. CO2 is the basis of life on Earth. And why don't we hear that? Why is that always we hear the story about it's poisonous and CO2 is a pollutant? And we know, of course, that is the story that our children hear at school. So statement number 4 was considered to be an important statement in the declaration. Statement 5. Well, global warming has not increased natural disasters. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is not an opinion, this is a hard fact. If you look at the hard statistics, this is what the statistics are telling us. I sometimes in the discussion ask to people, we were 2 weeks ago at the European Parliament, and we got accused at that particular discussion about collective manslaughtering by a member of the European Parliament. And he said, give us one particular example. Give us 1 square kilometer in the world where you can tell that a natural disaster was caused by CO2. Okay, she says that he will look it up. Okay. Number 6, the last one. Climate policy must respect scientific and economic realities. Ladies and gentlemen, is that not an important issue for the future? And we say stop with setting targets that are totally out of reach. If you already do that, it would help us a lot. Well, you can imagine, as I said already, we got an overwhelming response. That's why we have this fantastic group of scientists and professionals on the list, still growing on. But I must say, we got also a lot of bad remarks. And just to give you a little idea, I go quickly say, the first thing we got, the letter is fake. So of course we nicely, sent the registered letters, to the people who told us that. And then they say, yes, okay, the list is not fake, but the list of signatories is fake. Then of course we sent the list and said, whoever you want to ask questions, we can arrange that for you. And then it came from, but the signatures doesn't contain climate scientist, and we explained, that climate scientist was actually a profession that was invented, about 25 years ago. And that climate science is such a broad issue that we need many disciplines, to cover it. And that's what you see in the list of signatories. And they say, it's all right, but the signatories are old and demented. Old and demented. Well, we just laughed. And signatories are right-wing puppets. I carry on. Signatories are paid by the fossil industry, etc., etc. Now, why I show you this is, why don't they have a discussion on the climate itself? Why attacking the people, who giving them the message? And that is something that we would emphasize over and over again. Well, anyway, what we did after all these reactions, what we did, we wrote an essay. And that essay is very new, and will be or distributed within 2 days, on the internet. And we call it The Science Behind the World Climate Declaration. And you will see, in this document, that we don't go into the details about whether something should be 1.4 or a 1.6. But what we do is we say there are fundamental mistakes in the climate science as it is practiced today. And we are really showing and explaining these mistakes, which led to the stupid discussion that we have today. And you will find it. And you see one of the pictures I put on the front, and this picture really says, look at all these red and blue curves that they are way above the measurements. And that is typically what we say about the models that are used. They are hard. If you look at hard facts, there is something wrong with those models. Now we know that as a scientist, we always say, well, most of the models are wrong. Because they are always simplifications. But we also know is that some models are very wrong. Well, I would like to end up with questions. Really serious questions, I think, for society. The first question is, why is today's science, which goes about true and not true, why is today's science soaked with moralism, good or bad? And of course, the two should be really fully separated. That is the only way that we can improve our debate. And secondly is, why use politicians so often climate change and as an excuse for their failure? We see it over and over again. Things go wrong, and then you know for certain they will say it's climate change. Well, it means actually, if I look at the two questions, if this is happening, where is the climate intelligence? As you know, we are the group, all together signed, we call that the Global Intelligence Group, and we really want to get the intelligence back, into the climate science. So the question is, of course, where, in these mad times today, where is the intelligence? And maybe if you look at this picture, yeah, it may explain something. Yeah. As we know that when we look yeah, at intelligence, yeah. Let's turn it around again, yeah, and look for climate science. So I want to finalize with there is an open invitation in all our letters, and that open invitation says as follows: the Global CLIMATEL group invites world leaders to organize with us a constructive, high-level meeting between world-class scientists on both sides of the debate, early 2020. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, if we would do that, we go from polarization to cooperation. Well, it's very interesting when we finished our discussion in the European Parliament about 2 weeks ago. A couple of days, I got this particular email, and I don't know where it's coming from, but I just want to show it to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and consider donating to the Heartland Institute to support more vibrant free markets, greater individual liberties, and more videos like this one.